Hello students, in last lecture we have studied the structure of cilia in paramecium, and now we are going to study the working of cilia or the locomotion of the paramecium with the help of cilia. So let's just revise the structure once again. So this is the picture of the paramecium which is showing the cilia present on the outer cuticle of the paramecium. The hair-like structure is nothing but the cilia. The body of a paramecium is covered with a tough and the flexible pellicle. Pellicle is nothing but the outer surface or the cuticle. Okay, so from this cuticle, from this pellicle, the hair-like structures have arises, and these hair-like structures are nothing but the cilia. The cilia are arranged in particular fashion. They are arranged in the longitudinal rows, and the function of the cilia is to locomote, and for locomotion it needs to beat either forward or backward. So by beating forwardly or backwardly, it can move the animal from one place to another. There are numbers of cilia present on the whole surface of the organism. The single cilia is made up of it is a membranous structure. A cilium is a membranous structure, okay, which is called as a unit membrane, that it has a different component which is bounded by the membrane. So each cilium is a unit membrane which is called as the ciliary membrane. In this picture we can see a single cilia, and we have taken, or in the picture we can see the section of a cilia. So the bounded place, the outer membrane, includes the fluid inside it. Okay, the fluid or fluid-like structure, a fluid-like matrix is present in it, and in this matrix there is a bundle of tubules, of a small tubules, that are called as the microtubules. Now this microtubules togetherly makes up the axial filament, which is known as the axoneme, and this is arising from, the whole structure is arising from the basal body. You can see at the down red color structure where all the tubules or the microtubules are combining or getting together. So it is arising from the lower body, which is known as the kinetosome. Now the cross section on the right hand side, you can see there is a circular thing. It is nothing but a cross section of the axoneme, and it reveals the structure or the arrangement of the fibrils. Now there is particular arrangement of the fibrils. They are not present randomly into the matrix, but they shows a particular fashion or a particular structure into the matrix. So total 9 fibrils are present peripherally. Okay, at the periphery we can see 9 fibrils, and 2 fibrils are present in the center. So it shows the 9 plus 2 arrangement. It is called as 9 plus 2 arrangement because 9 fibrils at periphery and 2 fibrils are at middle or the center. That is why it is called as 9 plus 2 arrangement. Now this structure is similar in flagella also. Even the flagella is the protozoan locomotory organ which can which is present in the protozoa. So the similar structure is present in cilia as well as in the flagella. So each center fibril is a single structure. We will talk about we are talking about the central fibril. Now this two central fibrils are not joined with each other, they are separate from each other. That is why we are considering it as two different fibrils. So this fibril is connected, or they are coated with they are sheathed with a common membrane, and each peripheral fibril is made up of two subfibrils and a single arm. They are connected to each other with a single arm. In peripheral fibrils, you can see each fibril is made up of two different tubules, or we can call it as a subfibrils. Both of them are not equal in size. They are different in size. One is bigger and one is smaller. The larger subfibril is called as the subfibril A, and the smaller subfibril is called as the B. Are you getting it? The larger one and the smaller one. The larger one is called as the subfibril A, and the smaller one is called as the subfibril B. So this subfibril B has arm-like structure which is projected in clockwise direction, and this arm is present on subfibril B. Now this subfibrils, these 9 subfibrils, they run throughout the length of the axoneme, throughout the length of the cilia, and they unite at the basal body, that is at the kinetosome, while central fibril acts as a pillar. It acts as a straight pillar, and this gives the ability of contraction to the cilium. So since they are made up of proteins, they has the ability to contract. Generally the proteins has the ability to contract, and that is why this contraction may cause the movement in an organism. So this the proteins which are present here are dynein and tubulin, which are considered as the primitive forms of myosin and actin, which is found in the muscles. But these are not the myosin and actin. This is the primitive form of the dynein, and tubulin is primitive form of the actin and myosin. Let's come back to this one. Central fibril is also known as the subfibril A and B, and in peripheral fibrils they are made up of tubulin. So the central fibrils and the peripheral 9 fibrils, they are made up of tubulin, the protein tubulin, and the arms which are connected to subfibril B are made up of dynein. Okay, I hope you have got the structure. Let's move to the next part. Here again the structure has explained. The cilia and flagella is basically similar in structure. Just the difference is cilia are smaller as compared to the flagella, and cilia arises from the basal body, which is also known as the kinetosome. The cilia consist of an axial filament, which is also known as the axoneme, and this axoneme is surrounded by the outer membrane. So the microscopic structure shows the 9+2 organization of axoneme, which shows peripheral doublet fibrils. We have seen that the subfibril A and subfibril B is present at periphery, and there are 9 sets of subfibril A and B, and the central singlet fibrils, two single fibrils are present in the center, and that is why it is called as the 9+2 arrangement. The details of the 9+2 organization and the presence of the dynein arms are similar to that of the flagellum. So these arms are made up of dynein, and the axonemes are made up of, or the tubules, microtubules are made up of tubulin. As they are the tubules, microtubules, they are called from the tubulin, protein tubulin. This is one more diagram which reveals the cross section of the cilia. Some more picture. Now let's study how this cilia moves and helps in the locomotory purpose of the paramecium. So basically, paramecium shows two different methods of locomotion. It is called as metaboly or body contortions, and the another method is by the with the help of cilia. Sometimes the paramecium use the metaboly as a method of locomotion, but most of the time the locomotion or the movement is with the help of cilia. The body of a paramecium is elastic. Okay, we have studied that the outer covering of the body, the outer cuticle of the body of a paramecium is elastic in nature. So due to that, it has the elasticity in its body, and it can squeeze its body, it can change the shape of the body, it can become narrow sometimes, and that is why it helps for the locomotion. So whenever it has to pass from a narrow space, from a narrow place, it has to, or it squeezes its body, and later on it comes in the normal shape. So this body contortion is nothing but a squeezing itself, or changing the shape of the body for particular time, for limited time, and then come back to the normal position, normal shape. That is called as the body contortions or the metaboly. But here we are going to study our main topic is locomotion by cilia. So let's move to the topic, that is ciliary locomotion. Obviously, as we are saying that the movement is taking place by the cilia, so it is a main method, the major method which can be seen in the paramecium. The cilia has ability to move forward, or to beat forward or backward. Now this beating, direction of a beating decides whether the paramecium will move forward or backward. So when the cilia beats forward, at that time the animal when the cilia beats forward, at that time the animal can move backward, and when it beats backward, the animal can move forward. So there are different strokes which can be covered by the paramecium. So normally the animal swims forward. When it swims forward, the cilia beats backward, but it doesn't beat backward straight, but they beats obliquely. So the cilia stiffens, cilia gets stiff and they bend backwardly rapidly to that it almost touches its body surface. So when cilia goes backward from anterior to posterior, it is called as the effective stroke. तो जेव्हा पुढून मागे जातो त्या पोझिशनला म्हणतात, त्या स्ट्रोकला म्हणतात इफेक्टिव्ह स्ट्रोक. वेन द सिलिया गोज बॅकवर्ड ॲट दॅट टाईम, okay, it is harder or it becomes stiffened, but when it reaches to posterior position it becomes limp or तो थोडासा लुळा पडतो, आपण म्हणतो ना त्याला, सॉफ्ट होतो तो थोडासा. अँड देन इट स्टार्ट्स रिटर्न slowly to the normal position. Are you getting it? When it goes back, it becomes stiff, and when it goes to the normal position, it loosens up. This loosening up or coming back to normal position is called as the recovery stroke. Are you getting it? There are two strokes, effective stroke and recovery stroke. In effective stroke, it affects the body अगदी hardly or with all the power. The cilia becomes stiff and it beats backward. It's rapid stroke, and then when it reaches back it becomes soft, and then it returns back to the normal position. That is called as the recovery stroke. So the cilia of same transverse rows beat together and choose the longitudinal row beat one after the other from anterior to the posterior end. In next picture we can see what is exactly effective stroke and recovery stroke. Here we can see two different pictures which shows the position of single cilia. In picture A is nothing but the effective stroke. We can see the position of single cilia from the position 1, it goes to position 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is nothing but the effective stroke, that cilia beats backward, that is from position 1 to position 5 it reaches. When it goes to position 1 to position 5, the cilia excuse me, the cilia when it reaches from position 1 to position 5, the cilia is becomes stiffened, hard with the cilia, and it gives a pressure to the body to go forward. Are you getting it? When it goes to the 5th position, the cilia becomes softer. Then we'll move to the next diagram, that is diagram B. Now when it reaches to the 5th position, the cilia becomes loose and it starts going back to its normal position very much slowly as compared to the effective stroke. Then it will go from 6th position to 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Are you getting it? So first one is the effective stroke from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it reaches 5, it is almost that it touches the body of itself, and when it touches the body of itself, that means it is the end of effective stroke, and then it goes back to it starts going back slowly, going back to the normal position. That is also called as the recovery stroke. I hope you have got what is effective stroke and recovery stroke. So there are two types of strokes, effective stroke and recovery stroke. So whenever there is an effective stroke, the cilia becomes stiff rod, so that the cilia can move backward and slow, and in the recovery stroke, the flexible whips, the cilia becomes flexible and not the stiffer one, and it moves forward and fast. This shows the metachronal movement. In metachronal movement is nothing but the coordination of the cilia, the adjacent cilia coordinated together, and they sequentially activated over the body and shows the rhythmic beating. Okay, the bunch of cilia, the group of cilia beats together in a particular direction. That is called as that rhythmic movement, or the beating of the cilia is called as the metachronal rhythmic movement. So this coordinated movement of cilia known as the metachronal rhythm, which is due to the infraciliary system, which causes swimming forward by the animal. But when the animal goes forward, the body cilia beats obliquely backward, and at the same time the longer cilia of the oral groove beat more vigorously. Even at the mouth part of the paramecium, the cilia are present. So such oral cilia group beat more vigorously, which causes the anterior end to swerve to the left, that it doesn't move straight but it moves obliquely, it moves in zigzag manner. So the action of cilia of body and oral groove makes the animal to rotate on its long axis. This rotation is always to the left. So the combination of forward motion, swerving and rotation makes animal move forward in counterclockwise spiral path. This path is straight axis but not in a straight way, and the same body surface of the animal remains towards the axis of the spiral path. So though it moves forward in a single axis, but they move in a zigzag path. So ciliary beat can be reversed so that the cilia move obliquely forwards, by which the animal swims backward. See, here we can see a spiral path of a ciliary movement of paramecium. See, the line shows the single axis around which the paramecium moves obliquely. It moves to its left due to the oblique beating of the cilia. So spiraling of paramecium is due to the fact that while the cilia strike backward, they do so obliquely to the right, thereby causing animal to roll over to the left. And this swerving of the body towards the arboreal surface is due to great power of effective stroke of oral cilia, which strikes more directed backward. Okay, and it causes the rotation of paramecium to its own axis, and it enables the zigzag path of the paramecium. In this picture you can see the first picture is of effective and recovery stroke, next one is of metachronal rhythmic movement, and the last one is the pendular movement, that is effective and recovery stroke in a single picture. So students, we have studied the structure of a cilia and the locomotion in the paramecium. So this locomotion is caused nothing without the kinetosome. Due to the synchronization of beating of the cilia, which is the important movement of the animal and which is brought about by the network of kinetodesmata which connects the excuse me, which connects the basal granules, and in turn which controls and coordinates the contraction and movement of each single cilia in desired and timely manner. So I hope you have understood the structure of cilia and the movement of the paramecium. Thank you.